Hey guys, welcome back to the BuzWeaver Gaming channel, and today we're going to go over some of the settings in game and explain some of them, or at least go over some of the more important ones that I've come across and experimented with. I'd like to share with you guys. Hopefully the sound is going to be okay. Apparently the game doesn't like me running voice meter in the background. I use that as in an emulator to take my USB and make it sound like an XLR microphone. But nonetheless, we move on. So menu narration, I've got these turned off. These are kind of self-explanatory. Subtitle settings, those if you guys are into getting the actual text down there that you want to read. Master volume is all the way down now because I'm recording. And tinnitus SFX, I turn mine to 0 because I have tinnitus. I don't really mess with the pitch too much because with it being in beta, these things can change. So as we go over these things, they can change. So I just want to go over some of these. And then, of course, your graphics color presets. If you guys want to change some of the coloration there. And then color profiles for those that want to go in and change these things. I keep my brightness at about 55, but I also run my NVIDIA console color saturation. I keep the brightness at 55 and the saturation at about 70. So if you guys know what I'm talking about there, then that's fine. If not, I can do a separate video on the control panel for NVIDIA on what I use for settings in games. Camera effects, again, one of those things that's up to you as a you know, up to your personal preference. And then controls here. Infantry sprint for me, I put them on hold. I'm not much of a toggle person, but I will get into the toggle one here momentarily. I don't do the double tap for sprint, so I'd rather hold it. And here we have the crouch toggle sprint. I don't want to say it's actually something new, but we never were able to sprint while crouched, and now we can. And I have mine set to stay crouched. I found that this setting set to crouch will allow me to sprint while I'm crouched. And there are some redundant settings in there too that I go back and change as well. Crouch slide, I leave this on all because this is going to be one of those multi-function buttons I have that I use, but it still works. Just so you guys know, multi-button functions do work, and we'll get into that as we get near it. Double tap crouch, anything double tap I don't do. Infantry weapon, vehicle weapon zoom, steady scope, all these are going to be on hold because I prefer to hold them. And then interacts, prefer also to hold. When I'm using interact, when we go, you know, like in a vehicle, out of vehicle, whatever it is, and when you're interacting, so put that on hold. And then skip revive also, and that's because, oh, actually, yeah, on hold, right. So skip revive and request revive, I leave on hold because sometimes I go AFK when I'm down, and I'll tell my guildmates not to revive me, but you never know if someone may come along and try to revive me nonetheless. But I put these on hold for now, at least in beta. And then vehicle boost, hold also, and the comma rows. So if you guys use the comma rows often to thank other players or ask for ammo, requests, and those sorts of things, and the comma rows is there for you to use. And I use the back arrow when I'm in settings and so forth, because if you use escape, for some reason, everything seems to come back to accessibility, I think it was, or something like that. So I'm just trying to avoid that. Now, going into gameplay, I have my invert vertical look on custom. Just leave it as is, the vertical look also on default, and hold toggle modify is on here as well. As you can see, it is very similar to the settings we just went through a second ago. And you see the skip revive is here, the vehicle boost is here, and of course the comma rows is back here, and sprint. So this is just one of those things that's just really odd about it. I don't know why they have all this redundancy in there. I know the console people were kind of you know, having difficulties or challenges or time sinks in trying to get all their settings set up because of the way it's set up as well. Capture area outline. This is kind of new for Battlefield. We now have a little boundary that you can see, the little lines around a capture point. So you'll know that you're in the burn. So PTFO, you get in the burn. Double tap forward sprint. This is off for me. I prefer either just to hold the button down and sprint. Crouch toggle sprint. Here we are. Another redundancy. And, of course, I have it set to crouch because I want to make sure that I'm crouched when I sprint. So just don't let it confuse you. Vault over sprint I have on, and sprint door bars. Now, this reminds me of a guildmate of mine who had a penchant for bashing through doors in DMZ. And if you guys play DMZ, you know you can hear a door slam about 50 yards away. And, yeah, so door slam. I didn't find that it was an issue here in the game because there's so much noise going on that bashing through a door isn't that big a deal. And if you hear it, well, then you know someone's going through a door. Double tap crouch also is turned off. Landing roll. Yes, this is one I would definitely encourage you guys to turn on and use. This way you're not spilling down the side of a cliff and things like that, or you're jumping off a kind of like a rooftop down back to the ground that you jumped onto. You can just use this roll. You can either use C, Charlie, crouch, or jump, as it says there in the tutorial tooltip there. Mount break instant. I set this to instance just out of instinct. You guys may remember when we play Call of Duty, you use mount. It's a button push for me, and it locks pretty much the gun in place. But in Battlefield, you can just kind of rest the weapon on something, as it were, and it should take away the bloom, as I understand. People that were testing that out said that it will eliminate the bloom, very much like if you lay prone. So interact and reload, I have mine on prioritize reload because I mostly play medic, and also I find it very good when playing engineer, depending on because I'm interacting between paddles and guns, or rocket launchers and back to my guns. So if I ever have to reload those, I just like to prioritize the reload in any of those situations or circumstances. Invert demolition charge. I have not messed with C4 yet, but this is not as weird and awkward as it is in Call of Duty. Usually in Battlefield, it's pretty simple. You throw the C4, it goes a hell of a long way further than it does in Call of Duty, which is what I think is funny. But nonetheless, I have not messed with demolition, but I have it off right now, and I'll just have to give that a try later. Inventory visibility. I think this might be more related to BR, but there's not like a lot of inventory that we go through. Vehicle sensitivity to all personal preference, and if for some reason you want to be in a helicopter and go AFK or whatnot, if you turn this on, it will rebalance the aircraft, according to those who fly often. I haven't done any flying yet. Very little vehicle driving too, but I did do some tank play. But the vehicles are buggy. They feel very heavy. They're kind of awkward to move. They don't turn very well. So there's a lot of issues with vehicles right now. And so yeah, all these I have turned off, and I'm just not been I'm not too worried about vehicles right now. That's going to change. And then infantry aim assist. Just so there's no confusion with anyone watching this, there is no aim assist for PC. Okay, there is no aim assist for PC. Now we're going to skip controller because, well, I don't use one. Mouse and keyboard, infantry mouse sensitivity, personal preference, control settings, uniform soldier aiming. I would recommend you turn this on. This is, I don't know, relatively new to Battlefield, I guess. Enables use of procedural aim rate when in zoom. The procedural aim rate approximates constant 2D movement regardless of current field of view. Zoom amount assists with aiming muscle memory. So just kind of, just helps with aiming, and it's just really. It seems more like it's more of a vanity setting than anything else. But nonetheless, if you want to, I always leave mine on. Zoom sensitivity, coefficient, infantry mouse aim. These are all personal preference. Field of view, I might actually turn mine up to. I play Call of Duty on 90, and it seems to be okay. Battlefield, I might have to zoom that or pick it up a little bit more. Here's infantry sprint. So here we are, just back to sprint as we were talking about earlier with crouch, and I have mine set to hold. I don't do any of the double tap, and then sprint is my left shift. And here's your crouch toggle sprint. Crouch. I turned it. Let's see. Yeah, it should be on crouch. I found it. If you just set all these to crouch, and you want to crouch and sprint, you never have to worry about your soldier suddenly, or operator, specialist class, getting up and standing up if you wanted to make sure that you stayed in crouch. So just so you know that. Vault over sprint, absolutely turn this on. There's a lot of debris clutter in the game. And even with this on, this is not like Omni movement in Call of Duty. So your character won't walk over things intuitively. That's what I love about Call of Duty's Omni movement. One of the few things I liked about the Omni movement is that your character was not impeded or affected by objects up to your knee, I think, something like that. But in Battlefield, yeah, you can hang on pieces of grass and stuff. So I have this on for now. That could be another something they change. I have slide set to C, which is the same as crouch if you guys were paying very close attention. Because as I said, you can share keybinds, and it will still work. So basically, you just kind of run. I just tap C, and I slide. Now, I know I said tap versus when I usually like to use hold, but suffice it to say, it still works to slide. Crouch slide, all. So I guess that kind of helps with that particular thing. But like I said, I want to make sure that I stay crouched when I sprint, and so I just set it to all. Double tap crouch is off. Landing roll, again, this is redundancy. I would recommend you turn it on. And as I said, use crouch or spacebar. Find the spacebar to be more efficient. So as you jump, you're going to make sure you hit your spacebar kind of right as you land, and that way your character will go into a roll. Infrared weapon zoom, I want it on hold. Steady scope, hold, and then I use left shift for hold breath. And then we have, your parachute settings. Skip revive again, so another redundancy. Mount breakout again, so we have that as well. And interacts, which is, I don't know why they put that there like that. But graphics, I have on custom. And, well, here we go, custom. And so I just run it on custom since we're in beta. And I do graphics quality on auto, and then graphics modify. I leave everything on low, just throw it all on low, and even mesh, as I understand it from fellow creators who are all into like the super duper settings for graphics, say that you do not need to have mesh on high or ultra. At least for me, I mean, it looks absolutely amazing, but typically this is one of the few things that you would turn all the way up to ultra. But in this case, with Battlefield or for the beta, this is the mesh is not going to be very important. And then we're back to redundancy and buttons with brightness and sharpness. I don't mess around a lot with sharpness, but if you want to try that out, you can. And here's the advanced settings. Fixed resolution scale. I don't really mess with any of these things in here. I would leave them on off or default. Low latency is enabled. I have that turned on. One of the few things that experimenting with. Anti-aliasing I have off, and the rest of them are all off, at least during the testing. And just to kind of keep things at a control or a baseline for me. Field of view is returned again. Third-person view I have about 79. This is vehicle when you're looking when you're in a vehicle, and of course you want to set your field of view on wide. So when you're in a vehicle, you have a wider motion or wider field of view. And then of course motion blur, world motion, and all these are all turned down as far as I can go. 20 is the lowest for camera shake, just to there's enough going on the screen. You don't need a bunch of activity also making it that more difficult unless you're going for that cinematic deal. And then chromatic aberration is off. Vignette and film grain, these are all just to make the game look pretty. And full screen, play borderless. And monitor native resolution, of course. I have vertical sync turned off. Show HUD, should be kind of obvious. I have turned off soldier HUD motion because why do I want to see additional motion on top of motion that's already happening? This can be a little distracting, to say the least. And I've also turned it off for vehicle. And I do vehicle seats, overlays. I'll leave all that on. And then advanced. We'll see if there's something in here. Horizontal HUD padding. Yeah, if you guys want to move things around on your screen or bring it closer to 0 or to the center of the screen. So if you want your mini-map to be a little closer to the center of the screen so you don't have to dart your eyes too far to the left or however, to the left, then you can zero this down. I have mine to 0. I like it. I like the map right where it is. Show kills, and this is personal preference to me. I like squatting nearby the sweat guys. They like to be able to see all. That's really up to you. Kill feed icons, I do turn on. I like seeing those. Minimap size, I have it set all the way to 100. I haven't really experimented too much with it to see, I've dialed in the size or the opacity for any of it. These I just leave on default. And the view rotation is an important one. I leave this on. So whatever direction your soldier is facing as you walk along and look at the map will be the direction that you are facing. Always straight ahead. So unless you want to play without that, but I always recommend you play this on because wherever you're facing is where your map is going to show you relative to your position. Big map opacity, not really mess with this, but obviously if you hit your map key, then it brings up the whole entire map. Simplified squad list. I didn't find it particularly important. If you want to see their IDs and health and that sort of thing, like on the little bar thing there on the side, which I don't know who'd want to look at it. But anyway, if you want to see that, yeah, you can turn that. You can turn it on. Show compass multiplayer. Absolutely, I turn the compass on. Now, this is off by default. So, just so you know, this is off by default. I have mine on because I like seeing the compass, like no direction I'm facing. That way I can do call-outs to my guildmates in Discord and let them know where things are, or even use the hash mark numeric values. So, yes, I have these on. And they come in real handy, and I have it turned all the way up because I want to be able to see it. And more vehicle HUD colors if you want to change those. And I do have the HUD prompts and the vehicle control hints on here. Just there. I'm still kind of testing some of those things, so I like to leave those on. Action prompts is also on. Just to see what the game will prompt us in. Audio, this is personal preference. Right now, I'm just running headphones and default mix. Not really anything special because with it being beta, these things are going to change. Sound volume yet again. Enable chat. I do run in chat. I do talk in chat, so if you ever group with me, I will talk probably with you. I keep my voice at flat. I think there's something kind of similar to what Call of Duty does, where you can set it at different settings, and your voice will be different, or sound like you're on a radio and that sort of thing, and adds reverb and that one. I just leave it on flat because what's the big deal? If you want to experiment with it, absolutely go ahead. Voice chat volume 100 and voice chat ducking 25. You might want to change this if you find that well, if you're not loud enough or don't think you're loud enough, you can definitely set that. And I do push to talk, and left alt is going to be my push to talk, and my inputs are going to default unless I change them. And then stereo balance, tinnitus pitch, another redundancy. Subtitles I turned off in the language area because I don't want it appearing on the screen. And then also another redundancy. Enable radio music. Now, first, I just like leaving this on because I think it's kind of funny and amusing. But I remember in 2142, I made went into Portal, and I made a server where we could learn to fly and use vehicles. And I was in a vehicle one time, and they actually had like a talk radio show on in the game. I thought that was pretty funny. System. Setup player creator content. Now, show player created content. Wow. And server security, server names have been replaced with randomized numeric code. So, say if you're a streamer or whatnot, excuse me, and want to, be concerned about your name or whatever, I just got turned on because I'm still experimenting with that. Command console, I disable mine because on the rare occasions where I actually try to hit 1 to go back to my primary, I overcompensate and often hit the tilde key. And once you hit the tilde key, you're screwed because you have no way to move your mouse or type because you're in command mode. So for me, disabling this is absolutely important. Or if you have a gaming keyboard that disables your Windows button like that, if you saw that or not, because this is recording in game versus desktop, it'll keep you from hitting your Windows button. But this does not keep you from hitting your Windows button. This is so you don't go in command prompt if you hit the tilde key. Streaming mode, these are both off. These are, again, those things to kind of give your character anonymity when you're playing for stream sniping and stuff like that. And there you go. Enable music radio. Again, here's another redundancy. And minimap. I've not messed around too much with the minimap. I kind of like where it is. Again, another setting, redundancy for the view rotation. So maybe they'll minimize some of this stuff. Maybe these are just like additional settings in case you just happen to be in here and I go, oh yeah, I want to change this. And then you still have your ability to change rotation. Maybe that's why it's there. And then extras, just legal, and then exit game. But nonetheless, guys, if you have any questions about any of these particular settings, or if I skipped one you wanted me to cover or talk about, let me know down in the comment section, and I will respond to you guys. Thank you so much. This is my newest channel, my second channel, exclusively just for gaming now. Had a lot of things going on with the main channel, but we won't get into that now. But nonetheless, guys, thank you so much. Appearing there on the screen, that'd be the channel icon. You guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as select notifications. That we know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys in the next video.